Normal redditors that dated a celebrity, what was it like? Not me, but my aunt dated Weird Al Yankovic when she was in her mid-20s. I wasn't alive back then, but my family tells me he was a genuinely funny person in a way you wouldn't very much expect. I can't personally give any examples, but my dad and aunt have plenty of stories. One of my much older cousins actually has a signed guitar that Al played with in a live show. My aunt and Al met from my dad being a radio DJ as a teenager, and he met a lot of celebrities through that. Mostly 90s and early 2000s pop and country stars, but anyways, the station my dad worked at threw Weird Al a birthday party, and my aunt just happened to be there, and they ended up together for a decent amount of time. Every once in a while Al will come into town to say hi to her. Even though they aren't together, they are still friends. And no, Al isn't cheating on his wife with my aunt. My aunt's a strong married Christian, and I'm more than 100% sure she wouldn't do that. One of these days I might end up meeting him, which I think would be pretty cool. Created a throwaway for privacy purposes and not getting but sued for slander. Dated a decently well-known actress for about a year. There were definitely element of it that were fun and element that were not. She is noticeable, so when we went on dates she either always wanted to go out when no one was around, late at night or early in the morning, or if we went when it was busy she probably got pulled aside once or twice for a photo. Really wasn't the end of the world, but she always made sure I wasn't in the photos because she enjoyed having some level of privacy in her life, which I tried to respect. The primary issue was the whole drama she had to put on when she was dating me. When we started she told me sleeping around was basically just part of the job. She wanders off with some guy, and there's news articles they are most likely true. So it was probably once every other month she basically said I wouldn't hear from her for a couple of days, and then I see some report that she is now sleeping with X person. I put up with it for a while because she was okay with me seeing other people in the meantime. I only did once, and I didn't enjoy it. And dating a celebrity has its bonuses. She paid for almost everything, went on some fun trips, etc. Wouldn't really recommend it to anyone out there though for the long term. I'm mid-20s right now, and from what I saw every celebrity in that age range is basically cheating 24/7. Edit. Formatting. She also uses Reddit pretty often, so if she does, easily the best pie I've ever had to eat still. I started casually dating a musician in the early fall, and the artist he's now touring with has blown up, as in millions of streams and tons of press, in the short time we've known each other. I felt intimidated, and had recently ended our LTR, so I cut things off. They had a show in my hometown last night, though. We were connected, hooked up again, etc. We plan on seeing each other after they wrap their tour. The guy in question is fairly private, but he's getting some attention and has fan accounts on IG. It was just bizarre standing in a sea of people gawking at him and his bandmates yesterday. Plus next year they'll be headlining shows and touring internationally and booking bigger venues. I'm a little scared of what's to come, but he's talented and kind and smart and attractive. I guess we'll see how things progress. I'm not trying to push anything serious unless things get that way naturally, but I wouldn't cut off what we've got going on without a good reason again. I dated a girl who was in my country's The Voice, and after that, she won a big international festival. Didn't go very well. She's kind of a diva, and I also have a big ego, so we collided. One day after a party we returned home, and she was obviously mad. I asked what happened, and she said she didn't feel appreciated that night. I've been talking to other people and she wasn't the center of attention. We broke up that same night. We are currently friends. I dated a girl that's now a famous YouTuber for a little over 7 months. Not a celebrity per se, but famous enough that people knew who she was. She does vlogs and just goofy stuff, but now has around 2.7 million subscribers on YouTube. She was really nice, but YouTube just consumed her life. She had dropped out of high school a couple of months before I met her just to pursue streaming. We are both pretty young, still under 20, and I wanted to be a normal teenager and not caught up in her lifestyle. It was insane to me, and honestly really made me uncomfortable when people would approach us when we were out on a date or just hanging out. They would be pushy and rude and actually grab her and try to hug her. One time there was even a reporter from a magazine who would just follow us around, even when we asked her to leave us alone. Just really uncomfortable all around. We broke it off when I left California with my family. We still talk occasionally, but she's always busy with content and that super fast-paced lifestyle. I went on 2 dates with a Z-list celebrity from a reality show a few years ago. Think famous enough to where they have a bit of a social media following, non-famous enough to be recognized in public most of the time. First date was okay, we got coffee and dinner, chatted a bit. He texted me later asking if I wanna hang out again sometime, and I agreed, so we went out for dinner a second time. He got to the restaurant a few minutes, think less than 15, before I did, and got kind of an attitude about making him wait for me. Other than that, dinner was okay. He later texted me saying he'd like to go out again if I wanted to do anything other than get a free meal. I was kind of taken aback by that comment. We just kind of slow faded as far as the texting went. I didn't really like his attitude. He was pompous and entitled. He seemed to think he was more famous than he actually was. He wasn't even really a main cast member on his show. He would randomly text me when he would be in this area for like a couple years after that, but I never really talked to him again. It's not really that interesting or a story. I'm not revealing who it was to protect my own anonymity. I've told a few people I know in real life about this, and I try not to post identitying stuff on Reddit, but most people wouldn't have even heard of him anyway. Do e-celebrities count? Dated a girl who went on to be quite famous in a particular gaming community. We met in said game, and she was surprised to find we lived in the same small town. She thought my jokes were the dumbest she had ever heard. She agreed to meet me for coffee. Dated her for close to a year, and she was constantly subbering with guys in game to try to get more money out of them. At the time I told myself I did not care, and that it was my junk she was bouncing on at the end of the night, every single time, so win-win for me. Then I caught her taking nudes of herself. I saw a random post on one of the forums for said game where some guy claimed to have fricked her. He had a nude taken of her, no face, in my house. She claimed it was a hater, and that she used the nude for more in-game money/favors. Finally I dumped her when she took a trip to frick a rich player from the game. She rebranded her online personality and moved on. The old guard of the internet knows who she is now and occasionally calls her out. As soon as someone calls her out she gets a huge rabid following calling them all kinds of ists and isms. No, I will not say who. I will not say which game. I will not show you any of the pictures. I will not post any pictures of myself with her proof. I like my job and do not want to lose it. You know exactly what I mean when I say this. One of my exes is now somewhat of a celebrity in the female bodybuilding/modeling world. Back when we dated she was not into fitness or nutrition at all, so it was surprising to see how much she has changed in the past few years. She was always a bit self-conscious about her body when we dated, especially since she had naturally broad shoulders. I guess now she's embraced that, and it's helped her win competitions. Anyway, I'm happy for her though. She seems to enjoy what she does, which is great, because I know her previous job was very stressful for her. I dated a professional model and actress you've probably seen in face in ads as well as some shows. Work was a constant thing on her mind. The show she's auditioning for, Hollywood's Inner Workings. I really enjoyed hearing her goals and aspirations. She's very driven, and I like that. I dated a celebrity who was a big deal in her genre but nobody else has probably ever heard of her. It was really nice being moved to the front of the line and having great seats wherever we went. I honestly couldn't deal with the attention she for all the time. She had beautiful women throwing themselves at her, messing with her hair and clothes, touching her. I felt like I could never compete, and she could sleep with any one of them whenever she felt like it. Plus she had to be the center of attention. If she wasn't getting enough attention she would create a scene. I also eventually noticed that she wouldn't let on that we were dating. She always said she was single, so that was why she had all these women coming on to her everywhere we went. It felt like a game, and I didn't want to play. After we broke up she started dating a jazz musician who thought she was more popular than she actually was. It was very comical seeing them out in public together trying to see who could get the most attention. I was amazed that they could both have their big fat heads in the same car. I met a pretty little redhead at the beach one summer, and we hit it off pretty well. We were exclusive for about a month when out of the blue she says she has to move back to New York to go back to work as a model. She later shows up on the cover of a well-known sports magazine and went on to become a very successful businesswoman in her own right. We met for drinks once more about a year later to catch up.